Sophie Bennett straightened her blouse as she entered the COO's wood-paneled office. The morning sun cut across the mahogany desk, illuminating a single sheet of paper. David Ross, the chief operating officer, glanced up. David. Sophie, thank you for coming. Please have a seat. He slid the paper across. Sophie recognized the memo header. Confidential realignment plan, immediate actions required. Her heart sank. Unfolding the memo, she saw a list of 20 employees. Euphemistic language described realigning talent with business priorities. In plain terms, layoffs. Many names were familiar engineers who'd challenged decisions, analysts loyal to the ousted VP. Sophie, these are good people. She met David's gaze. David, officially, these will be attributed to budget cuts. Unofficially, they're troublemakers. Sophie's mind raced. HR taught her that people were assets, not numbers. Yet here she was, the instrument of a purge. Flashbacks flooded in her first recruit, a bright-eyed coder named Clara, a junior analyst she mentored. Now, similar faces would see severance letters. My role isn't to enforce political games, David. These need to be drafted today. Exit meetings scheduled by end of week. Sophie swallowed. She controlled her breathing. Sophie, understood. I'll begin. She rose, memo clutched in hand. Back at her desk, Sophie drafted the first severance letter. The screen read, "We regret to inform you." Her fingers trembled. She paused, deleting the boilerplate phrase, but the words remained sterile. Carla Nguyen, Sophie's HR partner, peered over the cubicle. Carla, what's going on? Sophie, realignment, 20 exits. Carla, but this isn't cost-saving, it's political. Sophie nodded but offered no reassurance. Hours passed as Sophie populated a spreadsheet. Names, tenure, severance packages. Each row felt like a tombstone. She noticed a pattern. Those questioning the new regime were targeted. Whispers in HR become shouts in cubicles, she mused. Entering the conference room for lunch, she passed the "Our people are our strength" poster. Tone-deaf now. She sat alone, pushing her salad. Sophie, I'm supposed to protect people, not push them out. Her phone buzzed, a reminder to schedule exit meetings. She silenced it. As afternoon light waned, Sophie clicked send on the first batch of letters. Her stomach churned. Sophie, tomorrow I'll look into those faces and say goodbye, and then I'll have to look in the mirror. Sophie sat back in her swivel chair, eyes lingering on the final line of her severance template. We regret to inform you. She sighed, knowing this perfunctory phrasing would mask the real story. A knock sounded at her door. Carla peeked in. Carla, I brought coffee. Thought we could tackle these together. Sophie managed a grateful smile, gesturing to the 2 mugs. The rich aroma filled the cubicle. They opened the template in the HR portal and began editing. Sophie replaced corporate jargon with human words. Changed effective immediately to your final day will be Friday, May 14th. Added a bullet about continuing health benefits and outplacement services. Each tweak felt like a small victory against the sterile directive. Next, they populated the calendar for private exit meetings. Carla hesitated. Carla, should we cluster them by department or mix so no one sees their peers leaving? Sophie, mix, keep morale afloat among those staying. She scanned the list of names, the engineers, analysts, even a marketing coordinator. Each meeting slot felt like a ticking clock. Sophie remembered her first HR role, prioritizing employee well-being, building trust, mediating conflicts. Now she was the architect of fear. I became HR to help people, not push them out. They drafted an email to department heads. Subject, confidential, upcoming team adjustments. Body, please join me for a brief update on team changes affecting your areas. Details to follow in one-on-one meetings. Your discretion is appreciated. Carla sent it with a click. Sophie's heart tightened. Before her first meeting, Sophie reviewed the employee's record, positive reviews, high engagement scores. She exhaled slowly and rehearsed empathetic phrases. Sophie, I'm so sorry to share this news. We value your contributions. How can we support you? Her reflection in the monitor showed resolve mixed with regret. Between drafting letters, Sophie confided in Carla. Sophie, do you think they'll hold us responsible? Carla, maybe, but we're just following orders. Sophie's gaze drifted to the HR mission poster. Our people are our strength. It felt like mocking irony. As the first meeting notification pinged, Sophie stood, smoothing her blazer. Sophie, once I step into that room, there's no turning back. Tomorrow, Sophie checked her watch. 9:00 a.m., the first exit meeting of the day. Her clipboard held the name and details of Raja Mehta, a senior software engineer known for his candid feedback. She inhaled, steeling herself. Raja entered the small conference room, eyebrows raised at Sophie's somber expression. Raja, Sophie, what's this about? He sat, adjusting his glasses. Sophie cleared her throat and began. Sophie. Raja, thank you for meeting on short notice. I have difficult news. Your position is being eliminated due to organizational restructuring. Raja frowned. Raja. Why me? My last review was exemplary. 92% on project performance. Sophie's chest tightened. She looked at her notes. Sophie, I understand this is unexpected. I want to stress this decision was made at the executive level based on shifting priorities. She glanced away, avoiding his gaze. Silence stretched. Tears flickered in Raja's eyes. Raja, I don't deserve this. What about my ongoing work on the API overhaul? Sophie swallowed. We value your contributions. You'll receive full severance, health benefits, and outplacement services. He nodded curtly and left, shoulders slumped. Alone in the empty room, Sophie pressed her back against the wall. Sophie, I'm losing my soul one meeting at a time. She exhaled, dabbed her eyes, and straightened her notes for the next meeting. As she packed up, Carla peeked in. Carla, tough day? Sophie, every exit is a betrayal. Carla offered a sympathetic nod. By midday, whispers swirled in the corridors. Discussions of exit queues and silenced dissent. Sophie overheard 2 junior developers. Dev A, did you hear Raja's gone? He was one of the best. Dev B, yeah, rumor is he asked too many questions. Sophie's jaw clenched. Lunch hour found Sophie alone in the cafeteria. She scrolled through Raja's LinkedIn. Congratulations on his latest patent approval. A wave of guilt crashed over her. In HR, we're supposed to uplift careers, not bury them. Sophie returned to her desk, steeling herself for the afternoon's meetings. Her phone buzzed, a calendar reminder. 6 more exits today. Sophie, this is just the beginning. The fluorescent lights of INNOVTECH's corridors hummed as Sophie exited the meeting rooms. Each whisper she passed seemed louder now, echoes of uncertainty rippling through the company. By the water cooler, 2 product managers spoke in low tones. PMA, did you see the list? They're targeting anyone who spoke up last month. PMB, I heard they're using HR as a hit squad. Sophie's footsteps faltered. She clutched her notebook. In the HR break room, Sophie found Carla and Sarah Kim, a junior HR coordinator, huddled. Sarah, I saw you with Raja. He seemed crushed. Sophie, it's hard, but these are decisions from above. Sarah's eyes filled with sympathy. Sarah, I don't know if I can keep doing this. Later, in HR's shared office, whispered tensions emerged. Some HR partners supported the realignment, others recoiled at the political motives. HR lead, we signed up for talent management, not political cleansing. Sophie realized she wasn't alone in her discomfort. She approached Carla. Sophie, we need to document everything. The directive, the criteria, the exec notes. Carla, agreed. If this goes public, we'll need our own evidence. They began compiling emails and meeting minutes into a secure file. That evening, Sophie met with an external legal counsel to understand her liabilities. Counsel, HR executes the orders, but complicity is a risk. Document why you acted. At home, Sophie replayed every exit meeting in her mind. She realized the rumors were true. HR was indeed a weapon. Whispers became rumors, and now they demand action. Sophie sent a secure text to Carla. Ready to resign? Sophie, I can't stay silent any longer. It's time to choose sides. Sophie slipped into her modest apartment, the weight of the day's exits hanging heavy on her shoulders. The hallway was quiet, the only sound her heels clicking against the tile. She flicked on the living room lamp where her partner Marcus sat reading. Sophie paced before the sofa. Sophie, I did something today, something I'm not proud of. Marcus looked up, concern in his eyes. Marcus, talk to me. Sophie collapsed beside him. Sophie, I handed severance letters to good people. because they questioned decisions or were loyal to the old VP. He reached for her hand. Marcus, that's tough. Sophie, I feel complicit. HR is supposed to protect employees, not terminate them as scapegoats. Marcus, you're not the villain. You were following orders. Sleep eluded Sophie. In the dark, she scribbled in her journal, "Each name I call becomes another lie I owe the company." Tears stung as she recalled the engineer's tearful eyes. At dawn, an email from Carla arrived. "Meet me at the park bench by sunrise. I have something." Sophie gathered her coat and hurried out. In the crisp morning air, Carla handed Sophie a sealed envelope. "Carla, board meeting minutes. They detail who pushed for these layoffs and why." Inside were annotations, notes from the CFO and chairman explicitly targeting dissenters. "Sophie, this is the proof we need." Sophie tucked the documents into her bag, determination stealing her features. "Sophie, if I stay silent, I'm as guilty as them. No more whispers. It's time to speak." Sophie awoke to sunlight diffusing through her curtains, the envelope from Carla resting on the kitchen counter. Her hand trembled as she brewed coffee. She drafted her resignation email. Subject, resignation, Sophie Bennett, body. Effective immediately, I resign from my position at INNOVTECH Dynamics. Please forward any inquiries to my personal email. She hesitated over the send button, her identity entwined with HR. Yet she clicked, feeling both relief and fear. At HR's cubicle cluster, whispers erupted. Carla found Sophie, eyes wide. "Carla, you sent it?" "Sophie, I had to. I couldn't keep enabling the purge." HR colleagues reacted, some with admiration, others with apprehension. Now a former employee, Sophie met with Raj in a downtown cafe. He reclined, stirring his coffee. "Raj, glad you left before the storm. What now?" "Sophie, I'm gathering more proof, testimonies from those forced out." He offered a rare smile. "Raj, I owe you my career. I'll help." Over the next week, Sophie connected with Clara, Sarah, and over a dozen displaced staff. She interviewed them, recording accounts of favoritism, selective layoffs, and HR's role in silencing dissent. "We used to joke HR was just a support function. Now they're executioners," one former manager confessed. Sophie reached out to investigative reporter Elena Wu at the Tech Guardian via encrypted email. "Sophie, I have evidence INNOVTECH's layoffs were politically motivated. Interested?" Elena's prompt reply offered a meeting. Before her final board appearance, Sophie returned to INNOVTECH HQ seeking David Ross. "Sophie, I have the full dossier, board meeting minutes, testimonies. This isn't restructuring, it's a coup." "David, you chose to leave, Sophie. Your views no longer matter here." She pivoted on her heel, resolve hardened. Sophie prepared to meet Elena Wu, clutching her evidence folder. "Sophie, truth is a weapon. Let's fire." Sophie sat across from investigative journalist Elena Wu in a bustling downtown cafe. She slid the envelope of evidence across the table. "Sophie, these are board minutes and HR logs proving the layoffs were politically motivated, not budget-driven." Elena flipped through pages, eyes widening. "Elena, this is explosive. If we publish, INNOVTECH Dynamics will be in turmoil, and you risk everything." Sophie met her gaze. "Sophie, I'm prepared. Let's expose the truth." They devised a release plan, published an exclusive dossier late Friday, ahead of the board's quarterly meeting. Key elements, redacted board minutes highlighting the CEO and CFO's dissent target decisions. Testimonies from 15 former employees, timeline correlating layoffs with board power shifts. They set secure communication channels, and Elena agreed to verify sources while Sophie lined up remaining witnesses. Sophie contacted Carla, Raj, Clara, and Sarah to prepare them for potential subpoenas. Each practiced concise statement. "Sophie, stick to facts, names, dates, directives." Clara, understood. As dusk fell, Sophie felt the weight of her decision. She updated her partner Marcus. "Sophie, if this blows up, I may never work in HR again." "Marcus, you're doing the right thing." In her apartment, Sophie assembled the dossier in digital and physical form. She encrypted files, then sent the digital package to Elena. "Sophie, no turning back now." At 11:45 p.m., the Tech Guardian website went live with the headline, "Whistleblower exposes political purge at INNOVTECH Dynamics." Sophie stared at the monitor as the dossier link activated. Within minutes, social media ignited. #INNOVTECH Purge trending as tweets shared evidence. HR's dark side exposed. At 8 a.m., executives gathered in the boardroom. Roland Carter slammed his fist. Roland. Who authorized this leak? Find her. Elena Ross trembled. Jasmine and Victor exchanged guilty glances. Reporters camped outside HQ. Sophie stepped onto a news broadcaster's satellite stage. Sophie. I did this to protect current and former employees. INNOVTECH deserved transparency. INNOVTECH stock plunged 20%. Investors demanded immediate action. Online petitions circulated for the board's resignation. Sophie's phone rang constantly. Supportive messages and threats alike. She steadied herself, realizing the storm she'd unleashed. Sophie testified at a regulatory hearing, presenting her collected evidence under oath. Board members and HR executives were subpoenaed. Senator Lee, Miss Bennett, can you confirm these board instructions? Sophie, yes, Senator. Her clear, factual statements led to initial fines and investigations. Days later, new interim CEO Jasmine Patel hosted a town hall. She announced sweeping HR reforms. We implement transparent layoff criteria, anonymous whistleblower channels, and quarterly ethics audits. Employees cheered. Sophie was invited back as chief ethics officer, leading the reforms she'd fought for. Sophie, I'm honored to help rebuild trust. At home with Marcus, Sophie wrote in her journal, when whispers become calls for justice, we must step forward. HR's role is to protect people, not politics. Her resolve was stronger than ever.